So maybe you've heard this one. A young entrepreneur founds a company that makes it easy to send money to people electronically. The company, called PayPal, is bought by eBay for $1.5 billion. The same entrepreneur then goes on to found another company that builds rocket motors and satellite launch vehicles, picking up a few contracts from NASA in the process. That one's called SpaceX. At the same time, he decides to build a car company, one whose stated aim is to convince people that electric cars are the way forward. After gaining experience with an electric roadster, the company designs an entirely new car from the ground up. That car is the Tesla Model S. Of course, it's not the first electric car, but it is the first electric car you can take seriously, thanks to its blend of space, performance, and a usable range. In terms of style, the shape cuts an athletic silhouette that wouldn't look out of place if it wore a seriously premium badge. Dare we say there's even a hint of Aston Martin about the rear end? We're not necessarily fans of the gloss black section and the front bumper where the grille would normally be, but we have to say that some of the detailing is superb, particularly the retractable door handles that pop out when you approach the car. The interior is pretty well put together too, and although there are a couple of areas where the quality takes a hit, for the most part it all feels very agreeable. We will say though that these steeply raked A-pillars make getting in and out a little tricky for tall drivers, and we quite like an easy exit function for the electric steering column. There's also very little storage space, with few places to leave your phone, and if you leave it on the shelf underneath the central touchscreen, you get endless interference through the car's speakers. What little switchgear there is taken from Mercedes, and there's nothing wrong with that, with the dashboard dominated by the huge central touchscreen that provides access to the car's main features. Now, we could probably make an entire video about this alone, but the system has an incredibly intuitive interface that makes getting around easy. The car includes a permanent 3G data connection, and this gives access to the Google Maps based navigation system that includes satellite view as well as a more conventional 2D map. It's not perfect, there are no speed limit indications for instance, and no choice of planned routes, although these are things that could be easily added later. The ventilation system has a set of controls that sit at the bottom of the screen, while the rest of the car's functions are accessed via a series of tabs, where you'll find buttons for the lights, the optional sunroof, the suspension height, with the car remembering settings for particular rows, plus the heated seats including those in the rear, and so on. There's also a pretty impressive hi-fi system that's linked to audio, so you can play almost any track you can think of, although in terms of sound quality it's not quite up there with the likes of Lexus. There's also a built-in web browser, although obviously that's best left for your passenger to play with, plus a rear view camera that you can activate even when on the move. The instruments are based around a central dial that combines speed, power use and regeneration, with a graph that shows how heavy-footed you've been on the right. The rear seat has been designed to accommodate 3 adults, and that's quite possible thanks to the completely flat floor, but passengers over 6 foot might find headroom a bit of an issue. If you've got young kids, there's the option of a pair of extra seats in the boot, and these fold flat into the floor out of the way when you're not using them. If outright cargo space is more important, the Tesla's boot offers nearly 1800 litres with the seats folded, and although they leave a bit of a step, it's still a hugely practical load area, complete with space for the various electric charging cables. If that's still not enough space for you, there's additional storage in the front where the engine would normally be. Right, well that's enough of the practicalities. What's it like on the road? The first thing you'll notice is that at low speeds it's weirdly quiet in here. Someday of course all cars will be like this, but for now the appeal of pulling away in silence never grows old. The one problem though is that for any car, once you remove the engine noise, you're left with all the other sounds such as wind and tyre noise. Wind noise is remarkably well suppressed, but once you're above 40 miles an hour or so, tyre noise does become much more noticeable, not helped by the fact our car was wearing 21-inch rims. That's not to say the Tesla is loud, just that if you were expecting to swan around the place in complete silence, you might need to readjust your expectations a little. Now the second thing you'll notice is how bloody quick it is. Even the base single motor model accelerates from 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds, but if you plump for the dual motor performance version, you not only get four-wheel drive, but also a 0 to 60 time of just 3.2 seconds. That's a four-door saloon accelerating faster than a 911 turbo. Insane. Numbers are only half the story though, because the Tesla's party trick is that maximum torque is available whenever you want. There's no waiting for the engine to spin up, you plant your foot in the carpet at any speed and full power is immediately delivered. This doesn't just make it fun to burn off anything you can think of from the lights, it also makes every gap an overtaking opportunity, and an effortless one at that. It doesn't completely disgrace itself through the bends either, although there's no disguising the fact that this is a big heavy car. That means it's capable, but not necessarily engaging. Now, if you hoon about the countryside, you'll find yourself quickly putting a serious dent in the Tesla's range. But if you drive like a normal person with the occasional burst of blowing someone into the weeds, you'll get an average of around 230 miles from a full charge. Now that makes it the first electric vehicle that makes sense in the real world. Of course, that also brings us onto the subject of charging. You can plug it into the mains via a standard 3-pin plug, but charging that way is painfully slow. You're talking about 5 miles of range for every hour of charge, but even that will be enough for the average person's commute if plugged in overnight. A much better option is to use Tesla's own network of superchargers, and this, we think, is what makes a Tesla a seriously compelling option for many. There's about 20 in the UK at the moment, although more are coming online all the time. Charging is dead easy. Pull into a bay, open the charge port by tapping a button on the touchscreen and plug in the connector. You can wander off and grab a coffee, safe in the knowledge that the connector can't be removed by a passing idiot, but to be honest we found it no hardship to sit and wait. The supercharger's claim to fame is that they can give you half a charge in about 20 minutes and a full charge in no more than an hour. The best bit though is that they're free. Now, if there are no superchargers on your route, you can still jack into pretty much any public charger. Most will charge at a rate of about 60 miles per hour if you've opted for dual chargers in your car, and you can keep an eye on its progress through the Tesla app, which, by the way, allows you to set the climate control, lock and unlock the car, and if you've lent it to someone else, see exactly where they've taken it. The Tesla makes particular sense if bought as a company car. There's zero benefit in kind tax, it pays no road tax, is exempt from the London congestion charge, and even if you don't live near a supercharger, it's still cheaper to run than a conventional car. If you're used to taking long journeys in a single stride, the Tesla perhaps isn't for you. The company reasons that most people drive for a few hours, then stop for lunch or a pee break, during which the car can be recharged. But that does mean you need to plan your route a little more carefully to ensure it takes in the required number of charging stations, and it seems a shame that the built-in sat-nav doesn't appear to be able to help you with this. But then that may come later, as Tesla has an impressive record of tweaking the car via over-the-air software updates. Recently they added a feature called Autopilot, which uses an array of ultrasonic sensors and cameras to provide functions such as lane departure warning, adaptive cruise control, and, in time, even the ability for the car to park itself. Given it takes most manufacturers an eternity to fix bugs in their software, if they fix them at all, this approach is yet another breath of fresh air. In the end, it all comes down to this. Judged as a car, the Tesla is very impressive, but with a few foibles. But judged as an electric car, it's nothing short of astounding. In fact, it makes me wonder, just what have the other car manufacturers been doing all this time, if what amounts to an internet startup company can suddenly come out with this?